Daniella Malfitano. I'll take you from the crop to the kitchen to highlight the local farms, ranches, vineyards, orchards, markets, and more right in your backyard. Join me as I uncover the delicious discoveries of your culinary community. Nearly 100 years ago, the hills of paradise were filled with apple orchards. But today, only one remains, and that's Noble Orchards. Hello, and welcome to Delicious Discoveries. I'm your host, Daniella Malfitano. In the United States, you can find over 2,500 varieties of apples. And here at Noble Orchards, you can find 24 of these varieties. Today, we're here with Jim and Lori Noble. Hi, how are you?
Good morning, Danielle.
Thanks so much for having me here today. You know, I've heard a lot about the business, and I want to know where it all began. Tell me from the beginning how your family got this business started.
In 1921, my grandparents moved to Paradise, and they bought this property and they started farming apples. My grandparents farmed it until the 60s, and then my father purchased it from him. His name was Vincent Noble. And then in the 80s, my brother John and I were partners. And then come 2006, Lori and I run the business from then on.
And I heard that your grandfather actually built this pole barn during the Great Depression. Is that accurate?
Yes, in 1931-32, wow. He got the Douglas fir logs from some property north of here.
Oh, wow.
And he would do so much construction during the day, and then my father got back from high school. They would assemble part of it, and then the next day they would continue.
Both of you are involved in the business, and you've gotten Lori involved, and we're excited to hear a little bit more about that. Lori, you wear many, many hats here, so tell me about what your responsibilities day to day are like.
Mornings start out sometimes with crews very early in the morning. We have packing crews that come in.
What time do they start?
Usually it's 6:30 or 7,
Yikes.
so it starts very early.
Yeah.
We open here at the farm at 10 in the morning, so we have to get everything ready for the customers. And then throughout the day, we can have 150 to 200 customers.
We bumped into Miss Janie Jones walking up to the pole barn here. Janie, thanks so much for stopping in today. I want to know, how long have you been coming here to buy your apples?
Probably at least 20 years.
20 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is awesome. You come, how often do you come? Once a week, once a month?
Oh, gee. Probably at least every couple weeks,
wow.
Especially once apple season starts.
Faithful customer. And what are you coming here today for? We have everything out right here ready for you. And what's the occasion? Why?
Well, my kids are all coming from out of town.
Okay.
So I want to make a pie, and I'll probably use a mix of Granny Smith and the Pippins.
Good idea. I love it.
And my grandkids love galas, so I'll be taking some of those home. And my husband loves the Golden Delicious, so I'll be taking some of those.
Right here for you. When is apple season for us that aren't really sure? Because they're always available in the grocery store, but when are they the best?
Apples here start the middle of August.
Oh, wow, okay.
With Pippins and our Gala apples. And then we continue picking apples through at least the end of November.
Oh, wow.
All the different varieties.
So they have quite a long season.
Yes, they do.
Well, I'm very excited. I've heard so much about Noble Orchards. Let's get out to the field and see those orchards, see the whole process from start to finish.
Let's go.
All right. Jim, here at Noble Orchards, you have 6 major varieties and about 18 minor varieties. Is that right?
Yes.
That's incredible. What are we looking at right here?
These are pink ladies.
Okay. I've heard about this all day long. Some of the customers have been asking about these. Tell me, this is kind of what you're known for. Tell me why they're so good.
Well, they like this elevation. They get sweet, crispy, and they keep their great sugar flavor.
I'm going to pick one if I can.
Go ahead. Yeah. They're a very nice apple.
So you just kind of hold it from the base and the stem here and pop it off, right?
Just give it a twist and she comes right off.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to give this a taste. Wow, that's beautiful. It has a nice pink sheen. It's really pretty. It's delicious.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's really crispy. It's very sweet, I like the flesh. It's a nice, meaty, crispy inside. That's really yummy.
Nice white.
Yeah. So what makes Paradise sort of an ideal climate to grow apples?
We're at the right elevation. Paradise is about 2,300 foot elevation, and historically, these elevations and equivalent elevations and climate zones always produce superior quality apples.
All right, and how do you know exactly what varieties to plant here?
A lot of times we'll plant 1 or 2 test trees.
Okay.
And then make a decision from there.
Here's another fun fact about apples. Did you know that it takes the energy of 50 leaves to produce 1 piece of fruit? I mean, that's really fascinating. I'm gonna pick this beauty right here. Lori, will you grab this for me? And I want to clear up a common misconception about apples, that if you plant an apple seed from an apple, it doesn't necessarily produce the same tree of that apple, right? It's all about cross-pollination. Will you explain that process?
When a tree is blooming, the pollen from another tree comes about and pollinizes the bloom. So that pollen could be from any place else. It could be from a bee. It can come in some cases from the air, but mostly it's bees that or insects that are transmitting the pollen. So the resulting apple seed, the seeds in this one, are not going to become true to this variety. For commercial production, we use grafting as the means to reproduce the trees that we want.
And what exactly is grafting?
Grafting is taking the rootstock that you want for the area that you're growing in, and then grafting on, for instance, a piece of the Brayburn so that the top of the tree is going to be Brayburn and the rootstock will grow in the area that we're in.
That is so cool.
It is. It's
that
a great
is really
system.
Fascinating, yeah. All right, Jim. So we're entering your cold storage facility here. Wow, it is really cold. What's the temp?
We try to keep the temperature here between 35 and 38 degrees.
Wow, that cold. And so you're always keeping that door closed, I'm assuming.
Always closed,
yeah.
And the compressor's always running.
Oh gosh. Well, so after the apples are picked, they come right to cold storage, and they sit here essentially until you need them for the farm stand, right?
Yes, yes.
That works. And depending on how busy you are, you'll take out about how many a day?
Well, if we're packing for the schools, we'll pull out maybe 7 bins a day.
Wow, okay.
And if we're doing weekend sales, 3 or 4, it depends how busy we are.
And why do apples need to be kept cool like this?
Well, that's the way you keep apples. In the this is just a bit like a big standard refrigerator, and apples, Red Delicious and Goldens, are good, nice and crispy till December. Pink Ladies and Fuji's will stay nice until about June.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but we were looking for a beautiful tree to shoot at. And in the process, we stumbled upon this. That's right, it's bear scat. So looks like this bear came a couple days ago, or maybe even last night, took some bites of this Fuji and Pink Lady, left them here and did their business. Lori, we're in your pole barn again, and this is actually your packaging facility too, right?
It is.
So show me how you sort the apples, what sizes go where. Explain to me what these ladies are doing here.
We have ladies that are actually sorting Red Delicious apples, and they are first of all looking for quality of the apple, the number ones, and then they're sorting based on size. And a lot of the apples right now are going into the cardboard box, which go to schools, and the larger apples go into one box and the smaller ones over here. And what they're looking for is that the apples are free of blemishes. So that would be one that would have a blemish, and that gets put into that box. It's ultimately going to be made into juice or other product.
Lori, on to my favorite part, tasting. I can't wait. I want to know what all these varieties of apples are, and dig in and taste a little bit so we can compare the flavors of the different types.
You're going to love this one. This is the one that surprises all of our customers. Way too big.
Yum. Oh my God.
That's a Red Delicious apple. Not the way you find them other than at an orchard.
No. That is delicious. Oh, it's so crispy, and it has this clean Red Delicious flavor. It's not mealy at all. That is to die for. So good. Yum. Is that your best seller?
It's one of our top sellers when we can get samples to people, because they're so used to what they've become accustomed to, a soft apple. critical to be storing them in the refrigerator. Always refrigerate apples. That makes a huge difference.
Wow, that's delicious. I'm gonna grab a bag of those before I leave. What's next?
Then the last one we're going to try right here is a Granny Smith, and our Granny Smiths
Classic.
are going to have a level of sugar you don't find them in many other locations.
And so crispy.
I heard that crunch.
Yum.
These are a great apple for baking. They're great for fresh
my
eating.
gosh.
We have lots of kids that like these as their favorite green apple. I have had occasion to pare them out, core them, not clear to the blossom end,
Okay.
and fill them with some sauerkraut, and then top
Sauerkraut, wow.
them sauerkraut, and then top them with some of the pickled red cabbage
Oh, I love that.
as a baked savory apple.
What a good idea. Pair that with some grilled pork, some breaded meat. Ooh, that would be totally yummy. I'm trying that tonight. Well, I better get started deciding on what I'm gonna cook with these delicious apples. Jim and Lori, thank you very much for having me here today. It was really fun. I love apples so much, but I love this fruit even more now, so thank you a lot.
Well, thank you for joining us at the farm. It's been a great day.
It has been. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And if you want to visit Noble Orchards for yourself, come out and check it out. It's on Pence Road in Upper Paradise. I'll see you in the kitchen. We just got back from Noble Orchards. It was so much fun. Jim and Lori are a great dynamic duo. They are so nice. They showed us all around the facility. We were there for hours and hours and hours. And Lori actually let me taste every single apple that was growing. It was fascinating. Today I'm gonna make something really special. I'm actually gonna make buttermilk and apple baked brunch donuts. And you can obviously eat them for breakfast, you can eat them for lunch or dinner. They're great as a dessert, but they're perfect because they're really elegant, they're easy to make, and perfect for something like a brunch. We're gonna use several different types of apples. I'm gonna use 3 different types. I'm gonna use my favorite, the Braeburn. This is my favorite apple. It's very crispy. It has a nice tang, not too tangy, but a really nice honey, sweet flavor. It's delicious. I'm also gonna use one apple that Noble Orchards is known for, their Pink Lady. People line up around the corner for these guys, Pink Ladies. We got to taste them right off the tree, as you saw, and I'm gonna actually bake with it today. Should be delicious. And then lastly, I'm gonna use a Granny Smith. And I wanna combine the Granny Smith with the 2 red apples because these 2 have a really nice sweet, classic apple sweet flavor. This is way more tangy, has a higher pectin level, so it's gonna all come together and taste really good in our baked buttermilk apple donut. So let's begin. I'm going to start by peeling our apples. So I'm gonna give these a slice on the top and bottom. And then using your peeler, carrot peeler, apple peeler, whatever you call it, peel the whole apple. You can actually save the peels of the Granny Smith apple and use it whenever you make jam and jelly. It has high levels of pectin, so instead of using cornstarch or buying fruit pectin to make your jam and jelly, you can actually just use Granny Smith peels. So you can save these and use them in the winter for your jams. Okay, so I'm just gonna dice these apples. I just need a really fine dice for the donuts. Probably just need half of that Granny Smith. And then I want to make a small dice. So taking small little bits of the apple, I'm just gonna give it a chop. Turn it. And you get these really nice bits. That's exactly what we want. And these will cook and sort of dissolve in the donut as it bakes. It's gonna be really delicious. And then just give this a nice mix because when I go to add the apples to the batter, I want to get a little bit of Granny Smith, a little bit of Braeburn, and a little bit of Pink Lady. This looks good. You can kind of see the different colors here. You have a little green shade, reddish, and then a yellow shade. This looks great. Okay, let's start on our batter. So for our batter, I only need a couple ingredients. I'm gonna start with our all-purpose flour. So I need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And again, I want even measurements. It has to be exact cups. So just go ahead and give this a shave with your knife and into a large mixing bowl. Another shave with the knife, right into the large mixing bowl. Next, I'm gonna add 1 cup of granulated sugar. Great, right into the mixing bowl. And then to this, I need to add a leavening agent. And so I'm gonna add baking soda, and make sure your baking soda isn't expired. And you can sort of shave off the top with the box here, 1 teaspoon right into the dry ingredients. And then a teaspoon of kosher salt. As you know, I like to use kosher salt in savory applications as well as sweet. It's all gonna dissolve, so don't be afraid of the big grain here. So right into the mixing bowl. And then with a spatula, just give it a good mix. That looks great. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside. Next, I'm gonna make our wet ingredients, our donut batter. It's really delicious, very, very easy. Okay, in a medium mixing bowl, I'm going to crack 2 eggs. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna give these eggs just a little whisk. And I wanna whisk the eggs and make sure that they're nice and fluffy before all the ingredients go into it, because then you can really prevent overmixing your batters in any application, cakes and brownies, anything. Okay, to this, I'm gonna add a cup of oil. This is canola oil. You can use vegetable oil. Okay, right into the eggs. Okay, next, I need buttermilk. And buttermilk is the most important ingredient in the whole recipe, other than apples. You need buttermilk because this is gonna create a really tender, delicious, really flavorful dough. I need 3/4 of a cup right here in our eggs and oil. Great, perfect. Give this a nice mix. Okay, to this I want to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, the last ingredient we need for our wet ingredients is our vinegar. Now this is a secret ingredient to the batter. This is gonna all help it come together. And I'm gonna use apple cider vinegar in this case. It's gonna go pair very well with the fruit. Obviously we're using apples. If you don't have apple cider vinegar, you can use distilled white vinegar, works just as well. So I just need a teaspoon of this. Right into the wet ingredients. Give this a nice mix. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna combine the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, and that's why we started with a larger mixing bowl here. So I'm gonna work in stages. I'm gonna probably do this twice. I'm gonna add a little bit of wet ingredients. Give this a nice fold. Again, we don't wanna over-mix the batter. We don't want it to overdevelop the gluten in anything that has flour, really. Same goes for cupcakes and cakes and brownies, anything with flour. So just mix it a little bit and then add some more wet ingredients. Give this, again, a nice mix. Not all the way, just until most of the large clumps dissolve. Okay, so next I'm gonna add our apples. We wanna add 3/4 of a cup of the apple mix that we made, our diced apples here. And they can be heaping cups. So of course we've diced too much, but save these. You can use them in salads or anything. Green salads, fruit salads. Don't throw them away. Give this a nice mix until it's all combined. It's almost there. I can tell because I'm starting to see less and less flour at the bottom of the bowl. That's a good sign. So this looks all one color. I can't see very many clumps. Nope, I can't see any. This is great, this looks perfect. All right, next we're gonna fill our donut pans. So I have donut pans here, and for those of you who've never seen these before, they sort of look like cupcake pans or mini bun pans, but they're not. They're actually donut pans, and they're very non-stick. And I love to bake my donuts because it's a lot healthier, it's a lot less messy than frying, and it's very fast. These will bake in no time at all. So I just need to quickly prepare the pans by spraying them with a little olive oil spray, vegetable oil spray, Pam, whatever you have works very well. So lightly spray these pans. Great. Okay, and then using a spoon, I'm gonna fill our donut pans. Don't fill them too much, sort of fill them a little bit, fill all of them, and then come back and finish filling them. And if you only have one donut pan with 6 holes, you'll have to do this in 2 batches. They don't take very long in the oven, so. Or you can save your donut batter for the next day and have fresh donuts in the morning. Make this batter a day ahead. It's worth it. Okay, these are ready to bake. They're gonna go into a 375-degree oven for only 12 minutes. They don't take long at all, so here we go. Okay, so now I need to make my sweet apple glaze for our donuts as they cook. So I'm gonna just take our apple mixture here, and I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup to our cutting board. And these are 1/4 cup heaping cups here to our cutting board. And I'm gonna give these apples a really nice fine mince. We don't need the texture of the apples. All we're looking for here is the flavor, because there's plenty of texture in our baked donuts. They're gonna be delicious. So just run your chef's knife over these apples till you get a really fine mince. Okay, this looks great. So keep these on the cutting board. Just give yourself some space. Okay, in a medium mixing bowl now, I'm gonna get started on our other ingredients for our glaze. I need 2 cups of powdered sugar right in a mixing bowl. So I wanna add the apples to the powdered sugar now, so that as I whisk in the water and it becomes a really nice sweet glaze, we're breaking the apples and you get more of that appley, delicious flavor. So next I'm gonna add some water. Start with just regular water, 1 tablespoon at a time, okay? And then using a metal whisk to break up the apples more, just give it a nice mix here. Starts to get really clumpy, and then add some more water. I'm gonna add 2 more tablespoons. Okay, I think 2 more tablespoons of water. That looks great. This is perfect. So set this aside and we'll check on our donuts. These look great. So I'm gonna pull these right out of the oven. Okay, these are done. They look so delicious. They're nice and golden brown. I'm gonna go ahead and flip them onto a sheet tray here, invert them. All right. So you'll see that some of them have the proper hole that we're looking for, and others have just a tiny hole. You can just take a paring knife and cut that hole out, and you have a proper donut. So that's what I'll do now, just to repair anything that was overfilled. So it's great to bake these donuts because it's a lot less calorie and less fat, obviously, in a baked donut. So you can save yourself about 30 grams total of fat to 8 grams of fat when you bake it, which is pretty significant. So go out and buy yourself some donut pans. What a great way to make delicious but healthy little treats. So the last thing we have to do is glaze our donuts. They're nice and cool now. They've been sitting for about 15 or 20 minutes on this cool baking sheet. So I want to just take my glaze, give it a nice mix because the apple pieces may have just sunk to the bottom. And I want to do this old school style. I want to actually pick up the donut and dunk the top, maybe even up to the halfway point here in the glaze. It's going to be really, really good. Here we go. So just dunk it in the glaze and give it a little shake. Pull it up and let the excess sort of drip off and right back on the sheet. That looks beautiful. Go ahead and do it with all of them. Okay, so this side is done. Wait a couple of minutes. These have been sitting for a couple of minutes here, so I'm gonna go ahead and glaze the other side. Again, same process, all the way to the halfway mark on these donuts. Yeah. I'm gonna garnish our plate with a little bit of pink lady apple here. So go ahead and just slice a little bit off. A couple wedges. Okay, so I want to stack these donuts. I think that will look really pretty. I'm going to take the 3 best donuts here. Yes, that looks great. Garnish of the pink lady apple. And then before I bring it to the table, I'm gonna take some of this glaze over the top. Plate. These look great. I'm gonna go ahead and give one a taste before I share them with my guests here. Ah, look how delicious. You can see the bits of apple right in there. This looks so good, and the buttermilk makes it really nice and sweet and syrupy, just like a good donut should be. Well, here I go. Oh my goodness. These are so good. Wow, these are really good, in fact. I love them. Super easy. That didn't take me more than, I don't know, 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes. These are healthy. These are fun. They're super delicious. Well, I think I'm gonna have another. So I'll see you next time with another delicious discovery. And if people wanna check out Noble Orchards, okay, all of that went wrong. All I'm gonna do is spray my pans just lightly with a little vegetable oil. Should we do that again? Oh! You can't use a chalkboard.
Delicious Discoveries with Daniella Malfitano is made possible by Angelina Rose Productions with special thanks to Mooney Farms.